Today I'm joined on the podcast by a DJ whose selections run deeper than most are willing to go. Born in Colombia, now firmly rooted in Naarm, she has built a reputation as one of the city's most respected diggers. A selector whose taste spans continents, decades and cultures in a way that feels entirely her own. From moody UK street soul to Balearic shades of down-tempo and house to more peak-time progressive house, her sets are less a genre exercise and more a journey through everything dance music can be, clearly guided by genuine curiosity and love. She's the founder of Ecosystems, a party series carving out its own space in the Melbourne underground, and one half of a B2B partnership with Myles Mac that has quickly become one of the most talked about combinations in the local scene. I'm joined on Club Elevate with the one and only DJ Possum.
Hello.
So nice to have you here. I am a big admirer of all that you do, but in particular the way that you're able to play so many different genres, and like you listen to any one of your sets, whether that's live or on the radio. I was speaking to you before, I was listening to your NTS show with your alias Jolie today, and like just the diversity and what you do it just shines through so much. And yeah, super excited to sit down with you and pick your brain about how you got to where you got to.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's definitely broad taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredibly broad taste. I also like to start the chat with how we met, and we only met pretty recently. I think it was at Pitch. We've been sort of semi-internet friends for a while, but yeah, it was fun. Like I reckon we were watching maybe Jen Loveless and Sleep D or something like that, maybe.
I felt like I already knew you for some reason.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. I think I was coming out of the portal or something, and I opened the door and you were there. You're like, hey, and I was like, oh, finally, you get to meet. You played that morning, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, you and Myles. It was so nice. Because did you guys play before the Welcome to Country and then there was a break and then played a little bit after?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was such a magical morning there. Like that Welcome to Country in particular was like one of the most powerful that I've witnessed and been a part of. Like I loved how they got everyone involved, and towards the end, like invited everyone up to dance with them, and yeah, it was seriously a moving experience, to be honest. And then getting to watch two of my favourite DJs on the main stage was pretty special. I want to wind back though, so I think it's important to go back and give some context of where it all started for you. You're obviously born in Colombia. What was your initial exposure to music, and I guess what was life like in Colombia for you growing up?
Yeah, so I actually was born in Miami.
Oh, born in Miami?
Yeah,
okay.
I was born in Miami from Colombian parents.
Yep.
And I literally left after a month. So I was like just born there.
Okay.
And then my parents then moved back to Medellín, where I'm from.
Yeah.
And I was like raised there. And I think exposure, I use like just music in general or just like
music in general.
Dance music. Okay, so music in general, yeah, it's just everywhere. Like we're Colombian. Like it's just we're exposed to music from, the moment you're born. It's just blasting sound systems, and it's just it's loud. It's a loud culture, you know. So I had always like really like pretty funny because we used to get these CDs that were like a compilation of like the hits at the end of the year in December, and they would be like cumbia, and then it would be like a trance track, and then it would be like vallenato, which is like another genre, and then it would be like some Caribbean thing, and then it would be like a pop like Madonna song. Like it was just the most mixed like thing ever.
Right.
And we always used to like have those CDs and just listen. So it was always like super broad anyway, My dad loved like soap opera, like music, like really like romantic ballads, and my which is like, and then my mom liked really alternative sort of, like she would have like Enya, and then she would
Okay.
listen to like Indonesian chants or like samsara, and then she would also listen to like Brazilian music. You know, I feel like I got my musical taste from my mom.
Yeah, okay.
Like my dad was a little bit cheesy, but I like he was really good. Like he used to play the flamenco guitar,
Oh,
like
wow.
really well, like really beautiful, and he could sing and stuff. And that was like not the cheesy side of him, but the ballads and all the romantic music was like this cheesy side of him.
Yeah, yeah.
But I still had like from the get go like a lot of love for music, and me and my siblings, I have three siblings, but my older two brothers, we used to listen to his like vinyl, like his actual like salsa vinyl.
Cool.
And he would be like shocked that we were like 8, 7, 8, not, you know, like listening to like old records and have this like interest for it, like analog kind of records.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, the genres, I see where you get your range of your love for a range of genres from, because he's just voiced there, even that CD with all of the different range of
Yeah.
hits, like trance to Madonna to whatever.
Totally.
Yeah, it obviously comes from such a young age, your love for the multi-genre, and obviously translates into your DJing and taste now.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Medellín did you grow up? I've been to Medellín 2020. Yeah.
Oh, cool. 2020, just
2020.
before the pandemic.
Yeah, I came back, and then Pitch Music Festival, I went to Pitch, and then we went into lockdown.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to that pitch
Yeah.
actually. Yeah. It was a good one.
It was a good one.
Yeah. I grew up in Medellin. Like that's where it's like in Envigado. Like it's just like the neighborhood. Not neighborhood, is like a. What is that? It's like a precinct, I think. Is
yeah.
that the right translation?
Yeah.
Of Medellin.
Yeah.
Between Envigado, El Poblado, and the mountains, like Santa Elena. I don't know if you ever heard of that. It's kind of like north, and you go up in the hill for like an hour or so, and it's just beautiful. It's just like hills and forests, and like I'm like a mountain girl. Yeah.
Nice.
So I spend a lot of time in those sort of three places. My parents kept changing their mind, and they were like, "We're moving to the mountain," and then we go there, and then they're like, "No, back to the city," and then we go to the city. Yeah, but mostly like Envigado, which was very like like it was like a small village town, and then it was mostly farms.
Okay. You were really amongst nature quite a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. In terms of electronic music, when did that start to come into your life?
Electronic music, I started partying really early, like too early. Like I was like 13 or something, and I would go out with my friends that were like pretty substantially older than me, and I would just I had a friend that had these cousins, and we would just like go to the raves, and they weren't big raves. They were just like, I don't know, like 30 people, and then it would be like maybe like 50 people and so on. And I started going to these raves and just got interested in electronic music. But I would say that when it really took off was I came here when I was like 16 because my siblings, they moved here like a really long time ago.
Yeah.
And I got the 2004 annual like Ministry of Sound CD.
Nice.
And so I then moved back like home, and I was like obsessed with this city. And then I just really got into I knew already how to like download things of like Napster and LimeWire and all that, so I would just like started to download everything I could that was like electronic music related. A lot of Ministry of Sound, a lot of like Café del Mar, like compilations, and really, really got into John Digweed and Sasha, and I was like
Nice.
obsessed.
Shout
and I was
out.
like, I absolutely need to see them, and it was like a dream because they would never ever go to Colombia because they were so expensive to bring. But then like all the like Tiesto, like Armin van Buren, like Paul Van Dyke, Carl Cox, like they all started coming because it was like they would do like huge raves, and I would go always 100%, like all my friends, and we would just go and party. So yeah, around like the age of like 16 to like 18, I was like a rave girl. Yeah.
That's an amazing upbringing. Like,
Yeah.
you just would have been exposed to not only just music, but like that whole. There's so much more to those scenes than just the music. It's like it's a whole culture and subculture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have made you grow up pretty quickly.
I did grow up very quickly. Yeah, I did. But that's just the kind of environment that Medellin is. I think that if you talk to a 13, 14-year-old girl or whatever person from Colombia, they probably sort of doing the same stuff that I was doing. I have no doubts. You know, I don't think that things have changed. In general, I feel like in the world. But yeah, I did. I grew up quickly. I got over trance and moved on to like minimal techno. And they used to do this festival in Cartagena. It was like Ultramar. It's like a chain, I think, or like something. It's a brand from Miami. They do like ultrasound, I think it's called. And they still do it, I'm pretty sure. In Colombia, they started doing it around this time. And I used to save up all my money, and then I would, all year round, I would sell all kinds of things like water bottles, like candy, bathers, like anything. I would save up, and then I would go to this party. And at some point, they divided up the party into like trance, and the other side was like more like tech house and minimal techno. And it was like two stages, and they faced like opposite directions.
Cool.
And so you could just jump from like one to the other,
So
and it was
good.
amazing. Yeah, it was like, it was great exposure, you know, because then you, but it was quite divisive. Like, it was like divisive in the sense that like some of my friends would be like, trance sucks, and they would just only be at like the tech house, minimal techno side. And then all my other friends were like at the trance like 10, and they would kind of almost never cross. And I was like one of the only people that would just be like going from one to the other, or like at least that's how it felt at the time. Yeah.
What's your I'm curious. What's your favorite John Digweed and Sasha tune, or like what's your favorite bedrock release?
Oh, that's a hard question. I'm really bad with names. Like,
Same.
I really wish I remember like the names.
Do you know the tune Set in Stone by, it's actually by Bedrock, which was John Digweed and Nick Muir?
Yes,
Do you know that tune? And it's Forbidden Zone on the A side and Set in Stone on the B side. Do you know that tune? I thought you might.
I probably do. Like, you know what I mean? But I'm just like, my memory is like my visual memory and my ear memory are completely separate. It's actually funny. And like Myles is the opposite. He's actually like has like a really crazy memory for sound and names.
Yeah, I wish I had that. Here I am talking about, I've actually, and people who listen to this show regularly will know how bad I am with track IDs, like so bad. Like, it's like a running joke that if I even get one right and remember the name, I'm like, it's like a celebration. So, but anyway, I was just curious because Bedrock in particular was like when I first started collecting records and like really starting to enjoy like progressive house and that sort of progressive trance scene. Yeah, like that's obviously one of the main labels that you get kind of drawn to because they're so big. But like, particularly early on, like probably back in 2020, like I was really, really like loving all of that stuff because I was like discovering it through digging for records because I bought turntables in COVID.
Yeah.
Like,
nice. Yeah. No, likewise. Like, I do remember that I was like really into a Creamfields set of theirs, and it was like 2001. I do remember that, you know, and loving like just being super obsessed with that and just listening to it like time and time again.
Sasha at Panorama Bar, like that mix is on SoundCloud. I think it's in 2 parts because he plays for so long.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that.
It was playing in our house the other day. My housemate was playing it. I was like, this is nice. How was the transition for when you left Colombia and came to Australia? Like, what was all that like?
So I actually left Colombia, but I didn't come here. I lived in Italy, and then I went back to Colombia, and then I went to Spain.
Wow.
And then I went back to Colombia, and then I came here.
Okay.
So I left home quite young, 19. And so yeah, by the time I came here, I was kind of had already done all this Europe thing. And I just came to see my siblings because I have an American passport, and they were like, I didn't want to be in Spain. And so they were like, oh, you should come here and just do a working holiday.
Yep.
So I came and I did a working holiday. And that actually is a good question because I decided to have a break from like clubs and electronic music. And I totally went into like punk rock and
Wow.
yeah, bands and like synthy, industrial kind of just live music. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that when you first got here, that's what you were into?
Immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, I partied a little bit. Like I went to Revolver and I went to like 161 and here actually Craft Institute, like I actually
Oh, true.
yeah, like I had that moment, but then I was like, I lost interest and I thought that I was like just bored of it or something. I don't know. I went through this like mental headspace where I was like, clubs are boring and I want to explore. I just wanted to see bands.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I like that though. It's like and when did you start to come back into it after?
I kind of never really. So I left for a while and then I did like all that for like 3 or so years. I dated some boys that were in like bands and traveled around Australia, so a lot of bands. And then I would always have this thing where I would miss the club, so I would just like go to the club on my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
True.
So it wasn't long.
Yeah. I love that. And when did you start to go, all right, I love this space. Like I want to get more involved or learn to, the craft of DJing. Was that like a specific moment in your mind that you wanted to do that, or
it was actually pretty accidental. My brother Felipe, he got deported from Australia, and he left me turntables and all his records. And we used to do parties, but we did Latin parties, and we had a lot of Latin records as well. And he left me all this stuff, and I used to always, he would DJ at our parties, and we'd just do it together, promote it, and do all the other stuff, and book the DJs and stuff. And then when he got deported, he left me with the turntables and the whole setup. So I just started DJing, but my friends were like, well, he's gone now, so I think you're gonna have to. And I was like, okay. So I just started doing it, and I started playing like vinyl.
Cool. And so that was mainly Latin music?
It was like Latin, but I still had like all his tech house.
Oh, cool.
And I always collected music in general, like just cause, like, so I had it, and then, but I did focus on Latin music a lot. Like I played like sound system parties and
Cool.
all that before I sort of started really DJing at clubs and yeah, like house music. But I had records and even digital. I didn't even play digital, but I still bought digital records.
Okay. What, just because there'll be some day that you'll play it?
I don't know. It could have been serendipitous. I'm not too sure. I just had it. I had music. I always had music.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
love that. But like, what, you just bought it purely because you liked it?
Yeah.
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 And you just like, I want to have that song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
True love of the game.
I downloaded like whole mixes as well. Always.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
And then, so when did it start to actually, transition into playing in clubs? Like, what was that experience like?
I think that definitely had a lot to do with my connection with Myles. Like I had always given opportunities to DJ because I have a lot of friends in the industry. I mean, it's it's like my world is my industry. So the moment that I started DJing, a lot of my friends booked me like straight away. Like they were just like, oh, you want to play my night, you want to do the opening, you want to do this. So I was always playing. Jeanette was one of those people.
Nice.
Yeah, she used to do like wild things, and I used to work at Tough, and she was like, oh, you should play my night, and she just booked me.
Sick.
Yeah,
Love Jeanette.
yeah.
She's amazing.
And then I started to play at clubs on my own, and then Myles and I, eventually we would just share nights but not play together. He made me nervous, like it's like, go away, don't look at me, like, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then but it was more fun that he was there than if he wasn't. Yeah, so I played like a lot of Project 95 parties and a lot of Melbourne Deepcast parties, and just like sort of started to happen more and more. Yeah.
And did going to those parties and playing at those parties really start to like expose you to, I guess, more like house leaning music, or was that already part of your love, I guess?
House music is my love. Yeah, house music is always good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel that I reckon, like, when I've seen you play and when I've listened to like your sets, like you play pretty much like most types of house, I would say. Like
absolutely, yeah. I don't really know how people like interpret like house music, because there is like, so it's really broad.
Yeah.
And I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't say that I play like a specific type of house. I would say I'm leaning towards UK house, and these days more like tech house, progressive house, and like UK house. It's like, it's not, I wouldn't call it the type of house that I play super like soulful, or doesn't have like a lot of lyrics. I feel like it's very much more on the immersive and progressive, I think, kind of house.
Percussion heavy, sort of like driving
Yeah,
stuff.
like ritualistic type
Yeah.
of immersive and hypnotic, I think
hypnotic,
is a good way to describe it. Yeah.
Totally. I described it to my friend Nat as like patient house, just because it like slowly, there'll be like another element that gets added in after like 32 bars. It's like as simple as like another hat or a bass line or something, and it's like, that is the part that actually gets the dance floor, rather than like a big snare roll into a drop or whatever. That's a house that I love listening to and being on a dance floor, when you're like locked in, heads down, just like grooving. And that's the sort of stuff that I like playing as well. I feel that like when I've seen you play, I feel that there's a lot of that to the way that you mix as well. Like when you played at Parallel Groove recently, I think with Myles, like I felt that set was kind of leaning towards, you're a bit more progressive house, I would say, because you're playing like fairly peak time, but it was very like patiently mixed, which I love.
Totally. I feel like that I was having a chat with someone, and they were like, oh, in Melbourne, people, they just like do the longest mixes. And I was like, oh, true. And he was like nodding to it. And I was like, well, you be so annoyed at like one of my sets with Myles, I feel, because we actually have such a yeah, patience for the mix. Like it's just like really quite um, long, uh, you know, blends and where one thing meets the other, and it's just yeah, it's long.
How are you reacting in that situation? Were you just like, oh?
Oh no, I just think it's funny because I like, I think it's good. I think that it's good that people have like different,
Yeah, yeah. It's just a personal preference.
tastes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a personal preference.
Yeah.
These days, like, how much does your background and like cultural background influence your like what you're currently playing?
Well, I think I'm always like kind of heavily influenced by what I currently play because I have a really like I would say the things that I look for in tracks are always very kind of drum ritual sort of there has to be that element because I feel like that's what makes a dance floor like the way that I understand a dance floor is like a place of ritual. So the things that I play are always leaning towards this very conga, like it's like very ancestral kind of lineage sounds, as well as just some like cool different things that I like in different. If a track has like a strange snare or something that sounds like a telephone or some things like that, like I or a horn, things that are like strange. I always look for like unusual. My ear is very like picks up on these things. That's the things that drive me. Like into yeah, like the music that I choose is like that ritual sort of lineage that I already have because of my ancestry. My like is like like reggaeton comes from like dembow rhythms and like raga reggae, and then salsa has like all like orchestra and is like very like there's like the trumpet, but there's also like all the congas and the bongos and the drums, and it comes from it's like a historical lineage that I can't seem to escape. But also I would say that I also have this other like relationship with like the cosmos that is quite human. I think it's not just like because I'm like Latin American, but it's just like this cosmic sort of also interest that apply to like the music that I play.
What exactly is that? Like, talk me through that.
Like what I think is the origin of it, or why I am like, or how I perceive it.
Yeah, how do you perceive it? I don't quite understand like what the cosmos is, or like
The relationship of it.
yeah.
So I think that I have, or basically like always grew up sort of interested in space because my dad was like really into like stars and like stargazing. And when I was little, I used to watch like the show Cosmos with like Carl Sagan, and just be like really obsessed with what was out there, and like like the sounds of, I guess because like there was also like a lot of sort of 80s music that came like when the synthesizers like sort of started to get used for electronic music and stuff like that. I feel like trance and progressive music and are kind of always leaning towards like spacey themes.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like all the rave parties in the UK and stuff, when you look at the posters and all of that, is always really like human, and it's like space, and it's just
like
lights
alien
and lasers.
sort of like
yeah, and that kind of like aesthetic that is not just like a visual aesthetic, but it's also like a ear, like like a sound aesthetic. I think something to do with like my upbringing and in the early 90s, and upbringing into like stargazing with my dad and watching the show Cosmos, and my dad collecting like videos that had those themes just made me really fixated
Okay.
into those sounds. Yeah.
Perfectly described.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. It's got like, it's nice. It must be nice to like look back and reflect. I mean, I don't know if you do that much, but like, you know, reflect on like why you're drawn to that,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
no,
sound.
I'm a thinker.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's evident.
Yeah.
Do you think that how much, I guess, influence does you being 6% Italian have on your music?
Where did you get that from?
I know some people.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, I think my 6% is I'm heavily influenced with my Balearic side on my 6%.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love Italian house. Italian house never gets old. It's great. In summer is amazing. It's a successful genre.
We spoke a little bit beforehand around the iconic Skylab mix between you and Myles. That was 2021? 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, right in COVID.
Out of the pandemic.
Yeah, so that, I mean, if you go back and listen to that, for those listening, highly recommend. It's got so much in there, but it's such beautiful listening music. I mean, like, it's so nice to just throw on, like, you could listen to that set at any stage of the day. I feel like that's the thing about you and Myles in general, and like, this is widely agreed on, that you could put you guys at any set time and you guys would play it well. And like, I think that translates into the way that you're able to curate a mix. Like, every time you listen to any of your stuff, it's like, it's so listenable. But that mix in particular, I mean, it starts off with like, it's like got hip hop, it's got like UK soul, and yeah, how was all of that? I mean, it's height of the pandemic. You're putting together the tracks for, you know, Skylab Radio, you know, hanging out with Myles, sharing music. Like, how was all that experience for you guys? Because I feel that really cemented you guys as like a DJ duo.
Yeah, the mix is the reason why we DJ together, basically. Because before that, we were just, as I said, just like kind of, we play on the same lineups, but we never like really played together. But basically what happened was that Myles had a show, like a Skylab residency. He did one a month, or maybe one every 2 months. And he was like, oh, we should, he was like, oh, do you want to do the first hour and I do the second hour? And I was like, sure. So I started like, just digging. And then at some point, because it was a pandemic, we had gotten a ping pong table. And we were like getting really into ping pong.
Nice.
And like super competitive, like ping pong. And I grew up playing ping pong, and Myles was really good at ping pong. And it's like, we're always looking for mixes to listen to, because we were like playing ping pong like 5 hours a day, you know. Yeah. So we then were listening to a lot of like Jose Padilla like mixes from like Ibiza, like Café del Mar, and like all that whole DJ Alfredo, like it's like Balearic, like very Balearic, you know, like the godfathers of like Balearic. And then we listened to a mix that is like DJ Regret. It's like for home use only, best mix ever. If you haven't listened to it, it's like that mix was like a mix that Myles and I used to listen to a lot when we started seeing each other.
Cool.
And it goes for like 4 hours or something.
Nice.
And then we were like, actually, let's just make a long mix to play ping pong. Nice. So that's how we made the mix. We made the mix for like just to be just playing ping pong, and then we put it out on Skylab. And I guess because it was a comforting mix. I think it's like a very positive. Like
Yeah, definitely.
it's like a really like gentle mix, and I feel like we were feeling like that because we were like, that's kind of well, we kind of are like, I don't know. I feel like we're very like fluffy, like positive kind of people.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. We're like, we weren't like, oh no, the pandemic, like it's the end of the world. Like we didn't go into oblivion. We were like, we need to like try and keep the vibes up,
Yeah,
basically.
and that mix is like, it is that, you know, it's like a big
Yeah.
warm hug, like listening to it. That's why, as I said, like it's so listenable.
I think that's why it was like well received.
Yeah, and it also really good timing as well, you know.
Good
like,
timing. Yeah, it was just like good timing, good tunes.
Yeah.
People like felt nice about it. Like people felt like, oh, this is nice, you know. And it was just like a bit of an offer
Yeah.
of positivity, I think, in the middle of like this crazy crisis. Yeah.
I want to know also, you know, between you and Myles, obviously you're both got such eclectic taste in music and are surrounded by music. It's your world. How do you go with the dynamic of, I guess, like bringing work home, and like, is music always talked about with you guys like forever and all the time? And like, do you have to ever put in like boundaries to not talk about it? Like, what's the go?
No, we don't put up any boundaries. We actually love music so much.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kinda
I thought
stupid.
that would be the case.
Yeah, it's like it's like not ever like a tiring subject or a like I don't want to think about it anymore kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
moment. It's just always sort of like a nice discussion or like or just difference of taste or whatever discussion. But if it's music, it's not. Yeah, we don't have any limits.
Yeah, yeah.
The amount of work. I think we're just used to being like freelancers, DJs, like bringing, yeah, like work home is natural, but yeah, we don't. I don't know. I don't feel like there's a limit. Yeah.
No, I like that. I mean, I'm just curious because I know that definitely, yeah, I mean, it might not. I guess when it's like something that you love so deeply that it wouldn't really feel like it's annoying to talk about, or like,
It's only annoying when you don't find tracks that you like.
yeah, what, you're in a lull
You're
period.
like, I spent 8 hours and I found nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's annoying.
Yeah, totally. I feel that.
It's really,
Yeah.
that's frustrating.
And sometimes, like, I don't know why this happens, and it's just purely like either me being lazy or I don't know. Like when I sometimes get in the car and want to put on a mix, a SoundCloud mix or something, and I like can't find anything, and I'm like, I don't know. There's nothing out there that I want to listen to like right now. But like there obviously is, and I just am not looking in the right spot.
There's thousands.
You know? Yeah, yeah. There's like infinite music. Like it's so ridiculous. But that's the only time that I reckon I'm like, music can sometimes be not make me annoyed, but like I don't know.
Sometimes you just need silence.
Yeah, that's true. Do you always have music playing in your house?
No, not really. Yeah. Kind of like, actually kind of barely. Yeah.
Really?
Well, if we have friends over,
Yeah.
we have music playing, and at our studios, we listen to music like the whole time, pretty much, because most of the time we're digging, you know, we're just like looking for music.
Yeah.
But when Myles and I are like hanging out, like for example, we're just like eating dinner, we don't listen to music.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just had this like, you know, I'm trying to be a fly on the wall in the world of DJ Possum and Myles Mac, and I'm just like imagining like record spinning constantly, like, you know.
Well, yeah. You know, sometimes, yeah, for sure. But especially if we have friends over, like there's always music, obviously, then, yeah.
What's your favorite sort of music to put on when friends are over?
Yeah, I like those kind of like, sort of, yeah, floaty, Balearic type mixes. Like, I love, you know, like, like Daniel Pisano or like Beaten, you know, like there's a lot of MDC kind of like on that tip that are like a bit more on the R&B,
Yeah, okay.
hip house, you know, street soul, little bit of Italian house, like that kind of vibe, or like even just like um, West Coast kind of, you know, American sort of G-funk,
Yeah, yeah.
or you know, like Jimmy Fam, you know, like Wax Flower,
Yeah, yeah.
sort of tip, like selector, you know, like selector kind of, yeah.
Do you like
That's my vibe.
Do you like Khruangbin, the band?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite to put on. Like
Oh,
they're one of
really? Yeah,
their
they're great.
records.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen them?
I haven't seen them. They played it. Is it Golden Plains?
Yeah, they might have a few
I
years
think they
ago.
did.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
before they were massive.
Yeah.
Because they're huge now. Like
Are they?
they're
Yeah.
so big now.
Right.
Yeah, I was just thinking like when you were saying all of that, I was like, what do I usually put on when people are over? But yeah, Khruangbin's like, we have like posters and prints of their stuff around our
I love
house
them.
and like a lot of their records. But yeah, we saw them play at Sydney Mire
Oh wow.
a while ago, and they would play like hip hop riffs and stuff, and the crowd would sing all the lyrics. It was just like the coolest stuff ever. They're crazy, crazy, crazy talented.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love them. Yeah, no, they're great. Long tracks as well.
Yeah, long tracks, patient.
Yeah, patient.
Yeah, they're not in
Yeah.
a hurry, which I love.
Yeah.
We touched on it a little bit before. You know, culturally, you know, dance music. We were speaking offline around, you know, how everything that we're playing and listening to these days is always derived from somewhere, which is, you know, usually a form of cultural resistance in some form, you know, whether that's house and techno or, in your case, reggaeton and ragga. Do you feel that there's a responsibility or a level of responsibility from a DJ's perspective to understand where that music's come from?
100%. Yeah, I think so. I think it's important to know your history. You know, it's like I think it's nice to know your history and who came before you and how things came about and what the meaning of that lineage is. And it's not like it does like it if you don't know it, it's fine, you know. It's kind of like you can have different interests. It doesn't have to be like I need to know everything, but I feel that energetically it like pays a tribute and respect to the places that this like music comes from. Do you know what I mean? Like
Totally.
in terms of like reggaeton, reggae, reggaeton is just like the younger cousin of like reggae and like Jamaican speakeasy culture that was like music of like liberation. That's the lineage, and then because the kids at the time in Puerto Rico and like Costa Rica, they couldn't speak English, or like they probably could, but like they wanted to sing in Spanish. They just like took like this preset from a Casio that reggae. So Jamaicans were already using it, called the dembow rhythm, and they were using that to rap over it, which was like raga, and that's the Caribbean, so that's music like spread around.
Yeah.
And so
right.
they just like took that and then they started rapping over it in Spanish. And then reggaeton was then birthed as this like almost like sexual liberation. Music is like super sexual, like when you listen to the lyrics and stuff. And it was like frowned upon by like the rich kind of classes, the higher classes of society in like Puerto Rico and or Costa Rica, and they but they were like expressing themselves, and it became like a phenomenon of like having this own thing that was like belonged to them. You know, it was like we can rap, we can do express ourselves, we have like artistic identity, and it's still like a form of like fighting against the system, fighting against like really heavily religious like Catholic countries where you couldn't talk about naked women, or you couldn't talk about, I'm not, gonna say it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like, and it just became this thing where they actually, it is a form of liberation, it is a form of resistance, and it's expanded now to, now it's like it's like popular culture now, like this kind of music. And it has gone and has many sides of the underground where now is quite popular for females to be the rappers, and be the singers and be like expressing themselves and being like kind of like empowering themselves. So I think it's cool to know that, because I feel like it brings another side of to your understanding that is not like so much so superficial, but it just becomes a little bit deeper, and it has like this other meaning. And I feel like when I play reggaeton as Jolie, I I play a lot of like female rappers from the '90s as well. So it's like even more rare back then, because I actually just play a lot of '90s music, reggaeton in general, and also I just seem to be trapped between like '96 and 2002 or something. It's like I try to get out, and then I'm always like go back into this like kind of zone era. And I do also believe in the same principle for like house music and techno and tech house and progressive house and just all this UKG, like all of that. I like history, but I think it, when you have that understanding, it makes you have a deeper connection to the whole system. Yeah.
Totally. I really think that whole concept, yeah, as you said, can be applied to like every genre that we currently hear.
Yeah.
And I guess leaning into that is like on the dance floor, so often that's people's safe space, and for people of all backgrounds, all cultural backgrounds, they can come together, and it's a form of like escapism from what's out there, that some stuff they might be dealing with, and I think that's the power of dance floors. But where it's kind of come from is, I guess, so important. And I remember when I was learning about like the Belleville 3, and like the Music Institute, and like what that created for people of color and the queer community, back in Detroit. Like learning about that, I was like, whoa, like it really helps contextualize like how important it was, but also like, how amazing it was that they were like creating this new genre of music and playing it in these spaces where, people weren't drinking or doing drugs or whatever. The people just there to dance in these like spaces that they'd just like fill out, and they'd be there all night.
Yeah.
And it's just like so amazing that like people fostered that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's really like there's so many, it all comes from a place of oppression. Like that in itself, the motor industry was like, and the factories and things in Detroit at the time were the main sources of income for many of that community. And then, to my understanding, it all got shut down, and then therefore there was heaps of people left jobless, and that's kind of where a lot of the, poverty and oppression and everything kind of came from, amongst, general race politics and everything. But for them to be able to create this space, which has now been, cast worldwide, is just like, it's amazing. And I think it's, going to your point, I think it's really important that people do understand where it's come from and how it's come and like we're so lucky to be able to listen to it and play it today, you know.
Yeah.
What was that?
The ice maker.
The ice machine, yeah, true.
Yeah.
But yeah, for you, like, what was the thing that drew you to that genre of music specifically?
Reggaeton, raga.
Raga.
We got, well, because I'm from the Caribbean, so my mom's from the Caribbean, like, side of Colombia, and my dad's from the interior. So I spent a lot of time up there.
Okay.
So we used to, like, listen to, like, everywhere sound systems.
Yeah.
And we just, like, grew up with, like, yeah, that champeta is, like, the version of that from Colombia. And it's sort of, like, a similar vibe, but, like, even more, like DIY,
Okay.
you know, and so I listen to like a lot of that stuff coming, and it's just like nostalgic to me, and I just always I never like let go of it. Yeah, and that's what it was, and I actually started when I was doing the parties at the beginning of my DJ / promoter like career. That was my sound. Like that is
okay.
the sound that I based everything that I wanted to do on.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Talking about promoter and running parties, ecosystems. Talk to us about ecosystems. We're talking offline around something that you've curated alongside, obviously, running a party, which is happening this weekend.
Yep.
But yeah, tell us about that.
Ecosystems. So I started this thing where I wanted to follow up like grassroots promoters and try to capture the underground, like Naarm underground music scene, electronic music scene in a light that is like not in your face, but more like sort of from the insider's point of view, but very poetically captured, and capture a bit of the nuance and how the efforts of people are for all of us to like make these things happen, and like, you know, sometimes they're successful, sometimes they're not. You know, it's like it's just the work that goes behind it, but like how much love and actual like gratification you get from like choosing to be like a creative and like an, you know, a DJ or an artist, or, you know. And it's called ecosystems because it's like the ecosystem is not just like the promoter, but it's like the promoters, the DJs, the club owners, like the graphic designers, the it's like the ecosystem of what makes a thing happen. So that's why, but it's like echo with like the echo from like, you know, the effect.
True.
And so basically it's like I that's the idea. I started doing that, and I filmed like the pilot.
Yeah,
but
it's great.
Yeah, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's the pilot, so I'm still like working on like the founding and all of that. But I wanted to do a party also that went along with it. So because it's an ecosystem, it's sort of like a thing that can just repeat itself. It's kind of like when you look at yourself in the mirror and you see like yourself and then yourself and then yourself.
Yeah.
It's like that effect, because it just, I can do a party that then also connects to like the same concept. So the party is again based on like the ecosystem is like spacey kind of cosmic sounds.
Yep.
A bit more on the fun but deeper side of spectrum of electronic music. And then I'm working with people that I feel are part of my ecosystem. So this party, I booked my friend Benji, which is the protagonist in the pilot episode. And then my friend Yilum, so Steph, who is like an amazing like spacey selector. Like her, I find her like selections quite like deep and cosmic and like sort of, it's like really right up my alley. So I wanted to book her as well, because she's like one like a very good friend of mine. She's like in my world, she's in my ecosystem, you know.
Yeah.
And so on. So like that's sort of like what it's behind. But then there's the map, which is also an ecosystem, which is like an history map of the lineage of where dance music comes from.
So cool.
So it starts from the discotheque, birth of the discotheque, which is the concept was born in France, but the Americans kind of took this concept and then they started doing parties. And so it starts with like Love Saves the Day, which is like Dave's Mancuso loft party, like very famous party in New York, where they used to do, this like weekend loft parties. And
That was the first
it
place with a door policy.
yeah, and they had like a, what was it called, like a medallion, not a medallion, like you were like
Invite only.
invite only kind of type thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just to protect like it wasn't like so much an exclusive thing. Like they just wanted to protect that it was like a safe environment, because it was mostly like, well, actually it was a lot of minorities, but there was also actually the beauty of that place was that it invited people from all walks of life, and Dave Mancuso like really believed that that's what made progress. It was getting people that were like bankers in the same room as like someone that was like, I don't know, butcher,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that. So it was like he just really like believed in that.
That's great. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a like such an influential sort of way of thinking, you know.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. He's one of my idols for sure.
Now, I want to ask you a couple more questions just around like perspectives on things, and then we have the quick fire questions segment, Ricky's Quickies. But we'll get to that in a second. Do you think that music can change people, or do you think it reflects who they already are?
Wow, it's pretty deep. That's deep. I think my first kind of intuitive response is that music can change people. Yeah. I feel like music can touch you in a way that can kind of change your fabric and your vibration. Yeah. So I think that music can definitely change people. Yeah.
I like that. I agree. Like, if you're exposed to something that you, for the first time, like hearing something, it's like someone giving you a piece of advice that you've never had before that can change your perspective on, or change you. You know, it's like same as like hearing a sound. Like you're like, oh, true. Or you hear a sound, you go deeper into the sound, you work out where that sound's come from, and then therefore it might change you. Like going back to what we were talking about just before.
Or it can like make you realize something that you had inside that, just can bring some memory or something.
Yeah.
That, can just change your perspective.
Totally.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel pressured to be a certain kind of DJ and like pigeonhole your sound?
Absolutely not. No, that's just not me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I'm able to do that, even if I tried.
Yeah. I find it like I'm definitely not as diverse as you, but I can't stay in a lane.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a month-to-month thing for me. Like I'm playing I've still got my main things that I love, but yeah, every month it's like a new obsession of like some sort of subgenre of that genre or whatever.
I think that's like a really positive sign. I think that we're always expanding, and that's growth. Like being able to change and be okay with it is good. Like I feel like that's why for me it's like I'm really like I don't know if this is like the correct word, but I'm like it's like I'm never the same. I don't know how to explain it. It's like I if I like I love cooking and I never like cook the same thing.
Oh, really? What do you?
It's like I'm just like I just make it up every single day, like always.
Cool.
Ephemeral, I was gonna say. It's a strange thing, but it's like a really I find it really cool. Like Myles really likes it. He's like it's like never the same day with you. Like I'm not like a monotonous person at all.
Yeah. Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
So-
I have an essence, obviously, like yeah, but I'm like ever changing, and I think that's why music is ever like you. Like I always have all these different interests, and I'm like, oh, I'm really into this sound now, and it could just be like this really specific thing, and I'm just like, I'm really into that now.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I wanna, and then I just go looking for that. Like,
Yeah. What do you like to cook? At the moment.
At the moment,
Yeah.
I really into just like I'm not eating carbs at the moment. Like I'm not eating carbs, so I'm just making like.
You're doing keto.
I'm doing keto.
Really?
Yeah, keto, but only on during weekdays.
Okay.
But I really like veggies and like saute kind of veggies and like up like protein. So like chicken. I don't eat red meat, so yeah, just like chicken and like lots of lemon. I'm really into lemon actually.
Lemon.
Yeah, I'm like lemon on everything at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And my dog is called Lemons.
Really?
Yeah.
What sort of dog is it?
But he's 4, and I've only really been into lemon for like a month. I don't know if it's connected.
Why lemons?
I just
As in, like,
I had a dream that my cousin had a dog called Lemons, and I really wanted a dog for like a really long time, but I just didn't. I couldn't because of my lifestyle. And then at some point, Myles and I decided to get a dog, and I was like, it was decided that the name of the dog was gonna be Lemons. Yeah, since I had the dream.
It's such a cute name.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
It's a really.
What sort of
random.
dog is it?
He's a cavoodle.
Yeah, great name.
Yeah.
It can't be like a big dog.
No, he's like a little fluffy cloud.
Like, you can't be like Great Dane. You're like Lemons.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be weird.
Yeah. If you could pass on one thing to the next generation of DJs, what is it?
One thing, just like, I would say, like, don't give up on, like, just, how do I say this? Like, it's nice to put in a lot of time into a craft, because the more you do it, the easier it gets, the more you enjoy it, and the more challenging it gets. It's like the more fun you have when DJing. Like, never stop being creative. Yeah.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, Ricky's Quickies. We've got 10 quick-fire questions.
I'm nervous about these ones.
Yeah, most people do get nervous.
Okay. I'll have a sip.
Yeah, go for it. Opening set or closing set?
Opening set.
Club setting or outdoor stage?
Outdoor.
Favorite dance floor you've played to recently?
Recently. Remnant.
Oh, yeah,
New
nice.
South Wales.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it was great. Great little festival.
Yeah, it looked sick. Morning person or night owl?
Definitely night owl, but fighting all the time, trying to be a morning person. Yeah.
So many night owls are like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Colombia or Melbourne, where has the best food?
Melbourne. Yeah.
What's your favorite Colombian dish? This is not actually a British
Dish?
dish. Yeah.
Empanadas.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So good.
So good.
If you had to cook a meal for the whole dance floor, what are you cooking?
For the whole dance floor?
Yeah, like, I mean, You don't necessarily have to cater to the numbers, but like if you're going to cook it, yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to be practical here. Rice and veggies.
Nice.
Oh, maybe rice and chicken.
Rice and chicken.
Yeah,
Nice.
and maybe some plantain.
You can only listen to one artist for the rest of your life. Who is it?
Sade.
Nice. I love how quickly you answered that. That's so good. Like
No doubt.
that's a hard question. Apart from Myles, if you could back to back with anyone in the world, dead or alive, who is it?
In the world,
Yeah.
dead or alive? Oh, that's such a good question. Doc J. Do you know Doc J?
Dog J. Doc J.
He's a Swedish
Don't-
DJ.
Name? No, I'm not that. I'm not across.
He's pretty underground. I'll
Yeah.
send you some of his mixes.
Please
He's a friend
do.
of mine.
Okay. Sick. I think
Yeah.
I've like seen the name around, but I haven't listened to. What sort of genre?
He plays like the funnest house.
Okay.
Like the most like pumping, fun, high energy
Sick.
house in the world.
All right.
His selections are crazy. I don't even know. He uses a different internet than the rest of us.
Off the dark web.
Yeah.
It's your last ever gig. What do you close with?
Oh. I really like closing with UKG or like two step.
Nice.
So I don't get to do it enough, but I do find that kind of music really sends you off home like in a really good mood, in like a smooth, like steezy mood.
Yeah, nice.
I think I'm gonna say, like Dreaming, Mike Milrain.
Oh yeah, Mike Milrain, iconic.
Yeah,
Nice call.
yeah.
Shout out, Mike.
Shout out for sure. Idol, icon.
Maria, it's been so nice sitting down with you.
Thank you.
I am, a big admirer of everything that you do. What's upcoming for you?
A lot actually for the rest of the year. Pretty
Yeah.
busy.
I saw.
Yeah.
Recently signed to Weaver, and I saw
Oh,
they
yeah.
put out your schedule, and I was like, whoa, busy.
Yeah. We are. Yeah. We've joined the team. Super exciting. They're very sweet. I'm very like into a lot of the DJs. They already in the Weaver family.
In the Weaver web.
Weaver web. And then yeah, I think we're just DJing lots in Melbourne. You know, we're playing for the Strange Cargo launch, which is
Sick.
here. It's gonna be so good. Love them. Those boys are amazing.
That new record's awesome.
So good, really good. So I'm excited about that. We're doing an MTC party, playing with Ben Fester.
Sick.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, really excited. We're doing a B3B.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's
I'm really looking forward to it.
yeah. That's gonna be high quality
Yeah.
tunes.
And then we're going to the Philippines and
Cool.
then playing some shows there and then coming back. And then we're going to Europe and then coming back. And then we're going to New York. And then
New
we're coming
York.
back.
Sick.
Yep. So should be fun.
The Big Apple.
Big Apple.
Wow.
Yeah. So busy. Yeah.
Very busy.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
but I'm
you
also
should
like,
be.
oh my God.
No, it's been so nice sitting down with you.
Thank you for
yeah,
having me. It's been actually it was super lovely.
No, I'm
Yeah.
glad. It's from my sources that I spoke to, they said that you love a yarn. So I was like,
Okay, nice. Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
nah, thank you for coming on. Big love.
Thank you.